Good evening, everybody, and welcome back. Welcome back to NFR, and welcome back to SAFRL. We had Tier 1 on Monday night, and it's time to do it all again with Tier 2. Of course, we're at the Spanish Grand Prix. Someone asked for a Spanish intro, so let's try a Spanish intro. Bem-vindos a todos aqui ao SAFRL. Estamos aqui na quarta-feira ao Grande Prémio da Espanha. There we go, that's all I'm going to do. Portuguese, I can give you a proper intro. Spanish, I'm a little limited. Of course, we're still waiting to get underway. It's just going to be the one qualifying session, so we don't run the full quali session. It's just going to be the one session. It's 18 minutes long. Gives everybody an opportunity to get around, set their best lap time. That will obviously set the order for the grid. 11 drivers in the field. We have 2 Kicks, 2 Ferraris, 2 Alpines, and I think everyone else is missing a teammate. So it's a good opportunity for everyone on the grid to get some points, and if you do have a teammate in the field this evening, well, it's a great opportunity to get double points for the team. See, we've already got somebody out on track. It's Chums, first of the 2 Kick Salvers. Wants to get out there early, get that initial run. You don't have that first run. I'm always a little bit worried. Leave it a little too late and then things don't go according to plan. And all of a sudden that 18 minutes, it runs out a lot quicker than you thought it would. Now we've got a lot of cars out on outlaps, just 3 cars remain in the pits. That's Top Gun and Panda. The 3rd car has actually exited the pits, so we now have 9 of the 11 drivers out on track. This is Pantry Star we currently ride with in the RB. Early stages in qualifying, nobody has set a lap time yet. We have 15.5 minutes remaining. That's how quick the clock times down in Q1. It just, you think you've got 18 minutes, you think you've got all the time in the world. But if that first run doesn't go the way you'd like it, maybe it's just not quick enough, you made a mistake, maybe you invalidated it, put yourself under more and more pressure as the session goes on. So what you want to do is get out there early, get your first run. Ooh, and I think that was Chums on his first run. Don't think he's going to be too happy with that. Now there we go, confirmation. You can see his battery's almost flat, so that means he was pushing. That was his quick lap. Seems like he may have just been impeded by another driver. He's the first man over the line. It's a 1:13.2. What was pole position on Monday night? If I'm not mistaken, we almost got into the 110s. It was a 1:11 flat, if I'm not mistaken. You guys can confirm that in the comment section, but I'm pretty sure it was an 11 flat because I said oh so close. We almost got into the 10s, but not quite. Seems like we will get a 12th runner. Top Dog has just joined the lobby. Not sure if he can jump into qualifying or if he's going to have to join at the back of the race. We'll soon find out. If you see a 12th name pop up on your screen, then there's your answer. Quickest man so far is the RB, Pantry Star, then Chums in P2. But from what we saw on that outlap, I think he's got more in him. Seems like he did get impeded. This is Top Gun. Remember that now. If Top Dog is here, it gets a little confusing between Top Gun and Top Dog. We still don't see Top Dog on the list just yet. A caution flashing on our screens. That's just somebody going slowly or somebody driving on the grass. It has since disappeared. Pantry Star from Chums. Then this man over here, Stoffel, currently P3, 13.3. Fastest lap we've seen tonight. It's in the 1:12s. It's a 1:12.6, and P2 is a 1:12.8. Spikes goes up onto the front row. J-Boy and Panda, the two Alpine drivers, the only two drivers not to set a lap time, but they are out on track. Panda about to start a quick lap. His teammate just up the road from him. He's just started his quick lap and he's heading off into turn 1. Real iconic racetrack. Circuit de Catalunya. Been on the calendar since the early 90s, 92 or 93 if I'm not mistaken. Track that was used as a test venue for many years, because it's got a little bit of everything. It was seen as the perfect test circuit. And of course, if you live near this circuit, well, if you live near this circuit and you love motorsport, well, it just keeps on coming the entire year. Almost every major European motorsport is at some stage at Catalunya during the course of the year. Even the WRC World Rally Championship, the Spanish Rally, does have a stage that crosses Circuit Catalunya. So this track sees everything from Formula 1 to GT to endurance to rally, a little bit of everything. Unfortunately, if you're a fan of this circuit, you'll also know it's going to fall off the calendar pretty soon. I think next year will be its final race, 2025. Then we move to Madrid for yet another street circuit. It's an interesting move because the last time Spain tried a street circuit, it didn't work out that well. Of course, I'm talking about the street circuit in Brazil, that in Spain, which was abandoned, I think after 2 or 3 races. I believe it was in Valencia, if I'm not mistaken. It was a track that gave us lots and lots of boring racing. This is Pantry Star, currently in P2 because Panda has just gone quicker than him. It's a 12.5, so that means he's a tenth quicker, and then 2 tenths further back he gets Spikes. The rest of the drivers not yet in the 12s. We have a 13.1 for Stoffel, 13.2 for Chums, 13.4 for Top Gun, 13.4 for Boinkies. And then the last of the 13s is the Williams, not Shumi. The other 2 drivers, Skull and Tylee Boy, still in the 14s, but it's a 14.0 and a 14.2, so they don't have long to go, not Shumi. Now heads into the final corner. Thought he was going to back out of that, but I think it was an outlap. His current best time, a 13.8, only good enough for P8. It's actually a driver I haven't seen on track in quite some time. Not Shumi. I wonder where he got the idea for that name. Surely he didn't see the name Not Fernando and think, Panda in the pits, Pantry Star returning to the pits. Those are the drivers on the front row. Spikes, currently in P3, he's on an outlap looking for an improvement, and we join Chums just in time. We join Chums just in time to give him brilliant footage of his own spin. Just does a complete 360. I believe that was a quick lap. So if he's got the fuel and he's got the tyres, he might just charge up and go for another. With only 7 minutes remaining, might as well come in, put on a new set of tyres, abandon that run altogether. This is the only Red Bull in the field, Top Gun. Currently P6, a 113.4, he's on an outlap. Right on board now with the Ferrari of Spikes, currently in P3, 12.8. Can go over the line to start that quick lap. Actually used a fair amount of battery on that outlap. I wonder if he left his hot lap on. Starting his quick lap with just 60% on the battery. This is the Ferrari looking to get himself off that second row. If he's able to find himself an improvement of 2.5 tenths, he'll be able to do that. But remember, Panda and Pantry Star will almost definitely come out to defend those laps, have another go. Still a lot of time to go, 5.5 minutes. Some of these drivers will leave it right to the end. Tylee Boy just staying out of the way on his outlap. This is Spikes. See if he was able to find any sort of an improvement. Last lap was a 12.8. And he's done a 12.6. He's gone up into P2. He sent Pantry Star packing off the front row. Pantry Star is looking to change that. He's out on an outlap. Panda, provisional pole, remains in the pits. Wakey's coming back into the pits. Stoffel, his Top Gun. Current best 13.2, good enough for P7. Ooh, and he puts that Red Bull sideways. That was quite spectacular. Held on to it though, good job holding on to it. Don't know if he's going to back out of this lap as a result. That appears to be the case. If I ever do get it wrong, just remember there's a little bit of a problem on my setup that I still need to sort out. I can't hear these cars, so that's why sometimes if the car sounds absolutely terrible and I'm riding on board with it for a little too long, it's because I can't hear what it sounds like without switching on my stream. And I can't do that because you'd hear me twice. Stoffel. It's on the second row, 112.7, one of the 4 drivers to make it into the 1 minute 12s. Boinky's not far away from joining that list. He's got a 13.0, then his teammate a 13.1, that's chums. So nothing in between those two teammates. Pantry Star has gone quicker. Moved that time from a 112.4 to a 112.3. No, sorry. Yes, 112.3. So Panda needed to find a 10th. Now he needs to find 2. And Spikes is in the pits. He'd have to find 3 tenths. This is Panda looking to take provisional pole away from Pantry Star. He's on the final corner to start his quick lap. Right on board with the Alpine and hope that the commentator's curse does not send him spinning. Very nicely done. Takes the curve on the right hand corner, then into the left hand corner, just using all of the racetrack. Don't want to use too much of the racetrack, then you'll get invalidated. Really just throwing the Alpine around. You can see he's giving it everything. You can see when a driver's giving it everything. He starts using all of the curb on the inside. He starts using all of that outside curb for his exit. Somebody starts using the full width of the circuit. That's when you know they're looking for every single thing. You go around that penultimate corner, then the final corner. Love that penultimate corner because it's cut out that ridiculous chicane. He does improve his time, but crucially, just not enough. It's a 12.3, and that means the gap on that front row is less than 10. This is the man currently leading the second row. Like to get that Ferrari up onto the front row. The other Ferrari, a 14.0, currently in P11. Of course, if we do start with just the 11 runners, then almost everyone in the field, with the exception of one, can pick up points on the evening. This is Skull. Currently at the rear of the field, looking to get himself at least higher up into that middle order. His teammates just taken provisional pole with a 12.1, and I think he's going to stay there unless something pretty dramatic happens. There is your checkered flag. Should be Skull's final attempt. 14.0 was the previous best. He does get into the 13s. It's a 13.65. It's good enough for P9. Spikes. Driver on pole. Suppose the session isn't over, so I need to keep on calling it provisional pole. Pole sitter now dives into the pits. Who else is still out on track? Still have Tylee Boy out on circuit. Not Shimmy. J-Boy. J-Boy takes a checkered flag. Not Shumi returns to the pits. And Tylee Boy doesn't look like he's going to be improving because he's got 2 wheels on the grass. So I think that is the end of our session. Of course, if you watched the race on Monday night, you would have known we had 2 safety cars, I believe. And they came out at crucial times. Really changed everybody's strategy up a little. Of course, tonight we could have more of the same, or we could have something very, very different. Here we go. There are your official results of qualifying. Scuderia Ferrari HP, Spikes P1. Then we've got Pantry Star P2. It's followed by Panda, Boinkies, Stoffel, Chums, Top Gun, Tylee Boy, Skull, Not Shumi, and J-Boy. Here we go, we're back. Sorry for the slight delay. I literally got home from work, walked in, put on the headphones and started streaming. So if you were wondering what happened to me, I just went and closed my front door. Isn't that fantastic? I left that open. Of course, now we're just waiting for the drivers to do their final touch-ups, and as I say that, we get away for a formation lap. Now of course the drivers will have their strategies locked in, everything will be decided. Now you're stuck with that strategy. Start on the wrong tyre, well you're stuck with them now, unless you get a early safety car where you can just swap those. Have a look at the tyres. We saw a bit more of a open mix on Monday night, but tonight it seems like the favored tyre is the medium. We have 9 drivers on mediums of the 11, and the other 2 drivers, Panda and Stoffel, they're going to be starting on the soft. Of course, this is the Spanish Grand Prix, home of Fernando Alonso and Carlos Sainz. Where will Carlos Sainz drive in 2025? I don't think he knows. Rumors are there could be an announcement on Carlos Sainz's future this weekend, but the amount of times I've heard that now, not quite sure I believe it. Yet again, F124 supplies us with terrible camera angles at the start of the race, so we're going to have to go on board so we can have an idea of what's happening. It's Alpine versus RB versus Ferrari into turn 1, and what a start from the Alpine of Panda. Gets brilliant traction off the start, has no issue getting past the RB of Pantry Star, and even attempts to take P1 into turn 1. Nice start for Panda. Spikes leads the way, started on pole. He's still in P1, but for how much longer? I think that explains Panda's start. Of course, he's one of the 2 drivers on track with a set of softs. He's going to have a big traction advantage in these opening laps. To make the most of it, he needs to get past Spikes, and he needs to open up some sort of a gap, utilize all the advantage he has on those softs. You're not able to extract everything from the softs if you're stuck behind someone on a slower set of tires. Those softs will drop off before the mediums, and then his advantage will be gone. So if he hasn't made the overtake and built the gap at that stage, then you just start to drop back. It's the difficult thing about going for the softs at the start. If it turns out you don't make up the ground or make up the overtakes you were expecting, the race doesn't always go according to plan. Of course, we had 2 safety cars in the last race. If I'm not mistaken, it was something, I think the first one was on lap 5, and it really changed the race altogether. So did the second. If we don't have any safety cars, well, then these guys should be able to simply run to the end on the plan that they had in the beginning. But if you've played this game multiple times, you'll know that most of the time when you get over the checkered flag, you probably had nothing to do with the initial strategy you had in mind. Panda, he has got past Spikes. Panda leads the way, Spikes P2. Remember, we said Panda's got the soft, so he needs to get out front and he needs to build the gap. Well, he's done one of those 2 tasks. He's got out front, now he needs to build the gap. He needs to shake off Spikes, get out of that DRS range, and build up some sort of an advantage, because he's going to have to be he's going to be the first one to pit in this battle. The only other driver on circuit with a soft compound is the man in P4. That is Stoffel. And if he's going to get the most out of those tires, he needs to try and get in amongst the top 3. Just when those softs do go off, everybody behind him is on the medium. I thought I misread that, but seems like not Shumi and Kylie Boy, maybe they were involved in some sort of an incident, I'm not sure, but both of those cars have come in and put on a set of hards. So Don't know if there was any sort of collision. Just seems like both of them came in at the same time. Maybe it is related. They're both now going to have a very long and lonely stint. This is not Shumi. You can see no one behind him. You can't see anyone in front of him. 56 seconds to the next car. Got a set of hards. It's going to be a marathon. Lots and lots of laps. And then maybe finish on the soft. Don't think the hards can go to the end from here. Very early days. Lap 4 of 35. Panda leads the way. Spikes P2. Pantry Star still in P3. Those have been your top 3 consistently so far this evening and in qualifying. Boinky's knocking on the door of the podium. He's in P4. But before he can worry about the podium, he needs to worry about his mirrors. He's got a Red Bull there. Boinkies from Top Gun. And then Stoffel. Wonder if he's had an incident or if he's just had an off. You remember he was in P4 on a set of softs, so at this point in the race those tyres should be fantastic. He was in P4 but he's gone down to P6, so he must have had some sort of an off. And that's the problem with starting on the softer compound and hoping to go quickly. If things go wrong and you find yourself down the field on what is supposed to be your fastest tyre of the race, you really lose out. Then again, I probably always start on hards because I'm at the back. Don't take any driving advice from me. I'm an okay commentator and a very, very bad driver. That's why I broadcast 4 races a week, and the one league I choose to drive in doesn't get broadcast. So I don't want anyone to see that. With a caution flashing on our screens, we quickly look to the track map to see, is there anybody stationary? Seems like we're back underway. Of course, on Monday night it was round about this time when we got that first safety car. So whenever that caution does pop up, even if it doesn't relate to a safety car, it always makes me raise an eyebrow. Oh no, what next? Lining up for a pass for Pantry Star. Thinks better of it for now. Still such a long way to go in this race. Spikes leads the way. Panda going backwards. Said he wanted to get out front on those softs and build some sort of a lead. Instead, he's lost the lead back to Spikes. Go a little bit further back in the field. Top Gun. He's actually come closer to the top 3. Boinky was in P4 and he was just starting to lose track of the top 3. Top Gun's taken over from P4 and, well, he's brought Boinkies with him. So now the top 5 running close together. Queen showing support for Spikes and Skull, and even throwing in a bit of Vamos. This is J-Boy, currently P8, then not Shumi. Said he's going to have a long and lonely race. Ooh, we caught Chums just in time for a spin. If I'm not mistaken, the same thing happened in qualifying. We were simply flicking through the drivers. We got to Chums on board, and as we did, he spun. Exactly the same scenario in qualifying, and I guess that driver is cursing me. This battle for P2 continues, and now Panda just starting to drop back. And I wonder if that's as a result of his tyres. That those tyres last a lot less than he would have expected. But he's just going backwards. I wonder if he made a mistake. Does he have any damage? Because now Top Gun starting to show his front wing. He wants to get by as well. Wheel to wheel briefly. I think the Red Bull might have the inside line if he's brave enough on the brakes, but not this time round. Just stay as close to the Alpine as possible. And the next time you can make a traction battle happen, make sure you win it. Of course, a very long DRS zone here in Spain, just the one DRS zone, but it's a powerful one. So if you can just stay as close to the Alpine as he can into that final corner, it's almost certain he'll get the pass. Ooh, and we've had a spinner. I believe that was an RB. So Pantry Star falling down the order. That leaves Spikes at the front of the field. He actually leads the way by 3.6 seconds. Now Panda, he's about to lose another position. He gained a position as a result of the spinning RB, and now he's lost the position. Panda back to P3, Top Gun goes up into P2. 3.2 second gap between Top Gun and Spikes. Top Gun seems to have the pace, but now he needs to reel in the leader. This is Spikes still at front. Remember, the gap was 3.2 seconds. It's now 3.3. Back to 3.2. So he's just maintaining that gap at the moment. It's not shrinking. It's not growing. Top Gun and Boinkies, the two cars behind him, also on mediums. Panda, well, this race is going bad to worse now. Led the race briefly on those softs. I thought he was going to be able to get away. Then he just started falling down the order. Now he has done 10 laps with those softs. I'm not quite sure, but I think you can take them till lap 12 or 13, and then they're going to feel absolutely terrible. Sometimes I get some technical advice here in the comments from Panda, but not tonight. Panda is sitting in the Alpine, currently in P4. Remember, he's on a different strategy to the three cars ahead of him. They're all on mediums, he's on the soft. I think this will be a one-stopper. Of course, the race on Monday was very different, but that had safety cars that force the driver's hands. Panda comes into the pits. The other man on softs decides to stay out, and he's lost the position. We got to see Pantry Star fly up the inside. And Pantry Star back up into P4. Stoffel just falling down the order, and surely it's those softs. Panda knew it was time to get rid of the softs. He's come out in P8 on a fresh set of mediums. Of course, these medium runners will take this tyre a little further, and then they'll be making their own pit stops. So for Panda now, what is crucial is that he just puts in the lap times, lap after lap, and hopes that when those drivers do come in, he'll find himself ahead of them all. Panda gets through on his teammate J-Boy, so already making up a position, and now he's got 8 seconds to the car up the road, so he's going to have clean air, fresh set of tyres. It's best case scenario. Pantry Star, Boinkies, Top Guns, Spikes, that's the top 4. They're all on mediums, all 12 laps old. I presume those cars will all come into the pits on the very same lap. Who's gone backwards? So someone go backwards, and then we got a caution, but luckily it's disappeared. Spikes leads the way. Gap is 3.7 seconds now, so Top Gun hasn't been able to reel him in. Gap's extended actually by half a second. It was 3.2 for the gap, now it's 3.8. The gap continues to grow at the front. Boinky's now in P3. And Pantry Star, who not so long ago looked like his race was falling apart, well, he's back up into P4. We started with just the 11 runners, but on lap 14 we still have all 11 runners. If we finish this way, it means we're going to have one unlucky driver outside of the points. Of course, this is the F1 normal F1 format of points. So just the top 10. Spikes. 3.7 seconds, so it hasn't changed since the last time we checked on it. Boinky's in P3, but now he's all over the back of that Red Bull. Remember, all of these cars are on the same strategy. They're all on mediums. They all started on those mediums. And I expect them all to pit at the same time. Selbert does get DRS, but he's a little too far behind on that occasion. He's going to stay behind the Red Bull for now. Spikes, he'll want those two to battle. The more those two battle, the bigger his gap's going to get. So Ferrari from Red Bull, from Sauber, from Ferrari. Two Ferraris in the top 4. Both of those Ferraris still need to pit. Panda, on the other hand, he's in P5. He's done his time in the pits. He's got 3 lap-old mediums and he's on the charge. Andrew Starr, he's also come into the pits and he's gone back out on a set of hard tyres, so surely this will be to the end of the race. J-Boy also still riding around on the tyres he started with. I wanted to see who would be the first to jump in those top four, all of them on mediums, and it's been Top Gun. Top Gun comes into the pits. It's on a set of hards. He'll go to the end of the race on those tyres. This is Skull. Does make up that position, so he'll briefly go up into P3. Spikes, Boinkies and Skull. Those are your top three. All three of those drivers do need to pit. Top three separated by 20 seconds. So that is a result of a race with no safety cars. This is Top Gun. So looking to have a bit of a lonely race at the moment. Or he'll prefer to have a lonely race. He's got Pantry Star 2.5 seconds down the road from him. Spikes. He's also now coming to the pits. It's leaving the pits on a set of hards. So all of these drivers, mediums to hards. And Spikes comes back out in P3. Nicely done. Boinkies. Out of all of those medium runners at the start of the race, remember there were 9 medium runners in the 11 car field. This is the only one left that started on those mediums. 16 laps now on the medium. I wonder if he's just trying to push the mediums a little further than everyone else. Maybe finish on the softs, but surely not. He'll be watching that gap behind him at 16.4 seconds. If it starts to dramatically drop, then he needs to get into the pits immediately. Otherwise he'll just be losing time. But 17 laps now on those mediums. So I wonder if that is what he's doing. Just trying to finish on the soft. Boinkies leads the way from Panda. That's a comfortable gap of 15 seconds, but the leader needs to make a pit stop. I think that would actually bring Boinkies out in P4 if he were to pit now. Remember, the gap was 16 seconds. It's now fallen to 15. So he is losing time. Don't know how much longer he can stay out on those tyres. You can just see him struggling there through the middle of the corner. Well, he doesn't agree with me. I say it looks like he's struggling. He doesn't think he's struggling. He's staying out there. Gap now 14.9 seconds at the front. Spikes gets past Panda. Ooh, and I was a little confused there. Boinkies is supposed to be far up the road. He is far up the road. That was Chums going straight at turn 1. May have just been trying to avoid Spikes and Panda, but he drove himself right off the circuit in the process. Boinkies, keep your eyes on that gap. 13.7, so it keeps on coming down every lap he's out there. So you might want to finish on the soft. You're going to have the fastest tire, but the longer you stay out here, the more you're going to have to do on that soft. Everybody else chose to finish on the hard. There's actually 3 drivers in the field that are gonna finish on the medium. That is Panda, Stoffel, and Tiley Boy. I think by the end of this, my voice might start to go, so if I sound like Batman by the end of this, apologies ahead of time. Boinkies leads from Spikes, the gap 12.1 seconds. We said it was coming down lap by lap, and that trend continues. Boinkies has now come into the pits, as I thought. Took those tyres a little further than everybody else so that he could come out on the superior compound for the final stint of the race. Talking about with the gap coming down and the gap coming down, if he had probably put the lap earlier, he would have found himself just ahead of Top Gun. Now he's got to get past Top Gun on the tarmac. We know he's got the pace, and he's definitely got the tyre. Boinkies could still, well, end up on the podium in this race. Another driver that started on the soft compound, who has since gone to the medium, is Stoffel. It's in P5. Pantry Star. Chums picks up a 3-second time penalty. We've actually got 3 drivers with penalties. Let's just bring those up quickly. Luckily there's nothing big there, just a Stoffel, Chums and Tiley Boy 3 seconds apiece. Boinkies was able to clear Top Gun for P3 using that soft set of tyres. Is he going to be able to do anything about the top 2? Well, it's going to be a steep hill to climb. That's 6.2 seconds he'd have to make up to catch up to Panda. Panda's on a, I wouldn't say aging, but 10-lap old set of mediums. Those will fall off towards the end of the race, but Boinkies is on softs and he's pretty much doing quali laps. He's going to be doing everything he can to catch the top 2 ahead of him, and that means he's going to be leaning into those softs, which means maybe at the end they're not going to be feeling as great as he would like. So let's give it everything now, make the overtakes now, don't rely on those tires at the end. To the leader, and he leads by 2.1 seconds. Panda can see his opposition just down the road. Makes a difference when you can see who you're racing. The guy ahead of you is 7 or 8 seconds up the road and you can't even see him. It's a little demotivating. But when you see that car just up the road, you know you've got the pace, you know you can reel him in. It's just corner after corner. I feel when the gap is too big, we actually see it starts growing and growing more when people have basically decided to accept that position. But when you can see that driver in front of you, you're never going to accept the position. Especially if you're Max Verstappen. Not quite sure what happened last week with Max Verstappen. It just seems that everybody, any British driver who tries to pass Max Verstappen, well, he's gonna land up off the circuit. This is coming from a Max fan, but I think Lando should have got his second win there. Lap 24 of 33, Spikes leads the way, and rather than that gap for the lead getting smaller, it is getting bigger. 2.9 seconds now the gap. Remember, Spikes is on the hard tyre, so I thought that would be quite the opposite. I thought Panda would be closing in. Boinky's in P3, 3.6 seconds the gap to Panda. Got a car off the circuit there. Who was that? That is Tidy Boy. I see, you got to be careful with that, because what happens is he went offline to stay out of everybody's way, but he stayed stationary. And sometimes what happens is it either results in a DSQ, or sometimes it triggers a safety car. Because the car going stationary causes a caution, and if the caution goes on for too long, it triggers the safety car. I think when you're being overtaken, the best thing to do is race how you would normally race, and then give up the position in the most ideal spot. For example, if you're in that penultimate corner, you don't have to give up the position in the penultimate corner. Just wait for the straight and give him all the space he needs. I've seen guys crashing out while being lapped because they were just trying to get too far off the circuit. One Ferrari leads, the other Ferrari in P7, that is Skull. Remember, he was on the podium at a stage, but that was as a result of his late pit stop. Obviously the only cars here with teammates are the Salbers, the Ferraris and the Alpines. All 6 of those cars are in the points. So everyone here with the teammates going to get double points in the constructors. Top Gun flying the flag alone for Red Bull. He must feel like Max Verstappen. And in case you weren't watching on Monday night, I'm going to say it again. Max Verstappen got a penalty and did an entire lap on 3 tyres. and he still beat Perez. That's just not right. I reckon Perez is in a Red Bull liveried RB. Spikes in P1, comfortable P1. That gap's grown to 4.5 seconds. So with 6 laps remaining, I think Spikes will be feeling quite comfortable with that gap. Just needs to stay out of the penalties column. Doesn't want any late drama in the race. Speaking of drama, Boinkies goes side by side on the main straight and takes over P2. He said it was going to be a steep hill to climb, even for the softs. Well, he's climbed that hill. He's got one more position to find, but do those tyres have enough left in them? The gap is 4.5 seconds. He's got himself up into P2, and he's actually starting to clear that Alpine already. The gap 9/10 of a second. So the Alpine not able to stay with Boinkies. Let's see if he can do something about that lead for the front. The gap was 4.5 seconds. And wow, look at that. It's 3.8 seconds. So he's found 7/10 in half a lap. Spikes will now be looking at that gap. That gap was 4.5 seconds and it was pretty comfortable, pretty stable. All of a sudden he'll see Boinkies in P2 and he'll see that gap coming down. So he needs to respond, or at least try to respond, minimize the damage. Even if Boinkies is quicker at this stage, Spikes needs to be on his A game. Might have started feeling a little relaxed, and then he saw that gap. I think he has responded. Gap back up to 4.1 seconds. Now I wonder how many of those drivers in the top 5, if you see that top 5 they've got no penalties, I wonder how many of those drivers have warnings. How many of them are on the absolute edge of a penalty. So difficult at the end when you're pushing, when you're giving your everything to make up that one extra position, but you know you're on 2 warnings. And you start to get a little tentative into the corners. That's not really how you want to race. I have a good few of you watching tonight. Thanks for everybody who's joined the race. My commentary hasn't been the best this evening, but what can I say? I was driving since 6 AM and I got in just in time to put on my headphones. So I promise you, tomorrow night DRS, I'll be a little better than this. Spikes from Boinkies. Remember, Boinkies closed that gap quite a lot, and then Spikes reacted to it. The gap now again 3.9 seconds. But surely Boinkies won't be able to keep up this pace till the end of the race. Those softs will definitely start to fall off at some stage. But I don't think they're going to fall off enough to bring Panda back up into P2. Excited to watch you race. Excited to race tomorrow in DRS. Am I going to pronounce this right? I don't want to bottle your name. Lohan. Gonna see you out on circuit tomorrow for DRS. Always great to commentate on the different leagues. Of course, if you're not familiar with DRS runs on a Thursday night. Main difference between DRS and the other races that I stream. All the other leagues I stream, SAFRL Tier 1, Tier 2 and SKR on a Sunday, they all have the short quali session 18 minutes. And DRS has the full quali session. They used to start at 8 o'clock like everyone else. Not anymore. DRS gets underway at 7 p.m. We have the full quali session. And then we head off into the race. But tonight, it's all about SAFRL. It's all about Tier 2. That's pretty impressive. If you were on the controller last week, I'm sure you'll be a lot more comfortable on the wheel. Is this gonna... Surely you've been on a wheel before. This isn't your first attempt at a wheel. Obviously I got playing this game on a controller. Played it for about the first year on a controller. Then I decided to go up to a wheel. I bought my first wheel. And I was, I think, 2.5 seconds slower than my controller time. So I actually packed up the wheel. I didn't use it for 6 months. Carried on driving on the controller. And eventually I pulled it out, did some practice. And I got quicker than the controller. But ever since I've tried to drive with a controller, I simply can't do it. It feels terrible. First attempt at league racing on a wheel. Well, it's really the only way you're going to get it right. You need to spend time out on track. That's also the benefit of having a full quali session. It means you can just go out in Q3, just use it as a practice session, have lap after lap. We've seen in DRS, we haven't had a field of 20 lately. We've had a field of 16, 17. So that means you can get through Q1 pretty easily with a decent lap. So you just need to go out there early in the session, put some laps in, get used to the wheel, get used to the pedals. And with every single lap you spend out there, it's going to come more and more natural until thinking about driving on a controller will seem ridiculous. Having said that, I've raced certain drivers who are 2 seconds faster than me on a controller. Spikes, checkered flag, boinkies. That gap looked like it was closing, but it just went the other way. Now the checkered flag falls for Panda, falls for Top Gun. I don't want to read the results just yet because there's a few penalties on the board, so we'll just wait for everything to finish up. Still have 2 drivers out on track. One is Skull, the other one is Not Shumi, on what I believe is his return to league racing. Stand corrected, but I haven't seen him out on track in quite some time, so welcome back, Not Shumi. He's a quick driver, give him some time on the racetrack, and I think he's going to be one of the drivers in for a shot at the title. Oh, there we go, that explains it. You were Ipixy, yes, or Ipix, yes, I was calling it Ipix. Let me look at that. I still can't pronounce Ipixity, I think. Ipixity. Well, I'm going to call you Ipix. So there we go. There are your official results for the Spanish round here of SAFRL Tier 2. Spikes takes the victory, Boinkies finishes P2 and picks up the fastest lap. Panda in P3, then Top Gun P4, Pantry Star P5. They're followed by Stoffel, Skull, Not Shumi, J-Boy, and Chunks. Missing out on the points is Tylee Boy. I muted the video a little too late, and now F1 is going to claim this video. There are your final results. We're just going to have a look in the cool down room. If anybody has decided to join the cool down room, remember what we do after the race. We have the guys join the cool down room briefly, and I bring them into the comms box. We just ask them a little bit about their race. Let me clear my throat so that I don't sound like Batman. There we go, that's better. Don't spend the entire day shouting at people. So I'm going to start bringing the guys in. I think we have all three of the drivers. So Boinkies, Spikes, and Panda, I will bring you into the comms box. And I'm going to bring you all three into the comms box at the same time. Guys, can you hear me? There we go. So, what a race. No safety cars. Very different from what we saw on Monday night. What did you guys make of it? Boinkies, you were pretty quick there at the end. What happened? I think you got the gap down to 3.7, and then Spikes just reacted to that, and the gap went the
Yeah,
other way.
I think I just nailed the strategy. I was the only one doing medium soft, so this medium softs were working brilliant. Other guys were doing medium hards, and I think Panda did soft medium. I think the medium soft was the best strategy. That's why I was so fast. Because I was aiming for fifth with Top Gun and Pantry, and then I outdrove them with the softs in the end.
You took the mediums a lot longer than the other
Yeah,
guys.
20 laps, yeah.
How did those mediums feel there at the end? I don't know if it was the stream, but it looked like when you were going through some of the slower corners there in sector 3, it just looked like you were struggling in the middle of the corner. I really thought the tires were going off.
Yeah, the back end was starting to get a bit loose, but I managed them. I almost spun actually twice in that last sector.
It was a
I
good
spun
race.
down.
Do we see you tomorrow night? Do you race in DRS?
Yeah, so I'm racing DRS tomorrow night, yeah, with Mercedes.
I apologize for always asking, but I honestly get
No
confused
problem.
between the leagues, and a lot of the drivers cross over. So that was a good result for the Salber, for Boinkies, pushing there at the end on the softs. We go to the
I
man
think I
in.
got fastest lap also.
Yeah, you did. You got the fastest lap as well.
Yeah.
So
Well
you
done.
pick up the extra point, taking your points tally from 18 to 19. And then Panda in P3. How was your race?
Yeah,
You were in
wasn't too bad.
you
I
were in
think my
P2 till
strat.
the kick came up behind you with the
Yeah,
softs.
yeah. Look, I think my strat was a bit harder. I think obviously with the fuel load, the softs didn't want to work for me in the beginning. So yeah, I think I just got the tire strat wrong. But yeah, next week we'll go again.
You got a fantastic start. You went from P3 to P2. For a second, I thought you were going to go for the lead into turn one, but
Yeah,
and those tires seemed to be working for you in the first 2 or 3 laps, and then it just seems like
yeah.
that it
Look, I think
wasn't.
from lap 5, lap 6, the softs were gone. Yeah, they ran down very quickly. So I just couldn't get the grip at all. So yeah, I didn't want to make any contact first corner. So yeah, I just took it easy.
And then we're just gonna go to the winner, Spikes.
Yeah,
Can you hear
hello.
me? There we go.
Yes. Yeah.
You started from pole. You won the race. Was it as easy as it sounds?
No, not really. It was hard. Uh, I couldn't believe it myself when I took the pole position. Those guys were fast. Uh, I think I just got lucky. Take pole. And then for the race, I knew Panda was on softs and he's going to be faster. So even though he didn't took me on the first corner, I knew, okay, I just need to stay within his DRS the whole time because those softs won't last for that long. And I'm
Yeah.
on the medium strategy, medium hard. So I knew I just had to stay in his DRS. So I think it was lap 6 or 7. I could see he's struggling on those softs. So I took my chances to pass him and make that gap for the undercut.
Tell me, I asked Boinkies, but now from your perspective, you were leading at one stage. I think you were leading by 4.5 seconds, and the gap was pretty stable back to Panda. And then Boinkies made the move on Panda, and that gap started to shrink. It went down to 3.7 seconds in about half a lap. Did you see the gap coming down, and did you had a little extra and you dug deeper, or did Boinkies basically slow down? Boinkies, did your tires go off at the end?
Yeah, by lap 29, 30, they were busy going off. I couldn't keep my pace with that anymore. Dropped
Okay,
off immediately.
so
No, so
so
basically, I knew I had a gap there, I think it was a 4.6 gap, and I saw Boinkies pass Panda, and I could see, okay, he was also on the softs. So I tried to maintain, so I spared my ERS, use it on straights, out of corners, and then just save it up again. When I saw the gap gets closer again, I just use ERS once again just to keep that gap because I also knew once again those softs won't last.
that was a good race. It was a good tier two race. I mean, on tier one we had the two safety cars really mixed up everybody's strategies, but today we actually had a start to finish race where you guys could like implement a strategy and actually do it. So many times we get to the end of the race and the strategy you had planned out, it didn't work out that way. So
And
I want to thank you guys, all three of you. We actually got all three drivers in the comms box. That's great. Boinky, Spikes, Panda. Thanks for the racing, and
Yeah, thanks, Vince. Well done.
I'm
we're
gonna
gonna
thank you
see
as well, Fernando.
how many of you are racing tomorrow night.
I
Uh,
think myself and Winkies of the RS League, yeah.
and I'm racing LSA League tomorrow.
You're riding over on the LSA. I was actually asked by LSA a while ago if I could commentate on one of their tiers, but fortunately the channel's a little full. And yeah, I'm not ready to give up my Tuesday night off. So thank you all, and yeah, I'm gonna just quickly end the stream. You guys can stay in the comms box for a little if you want, but to the viewers, thank you all for watching. If you haven't subscribed, please do so, and I'll see you all tomorrow for DRS, and if not, I'll see you on Sunday evening for SKR. Until then, guys, cheers.
Lekker
Nice to
cool,
hear.
gents. Well